Everybody, we have a month, 1 month, maybe a little less at this point. It's time to get busy. We're under attack, as our show, as I've been saying for a long time. The attack is now overt. You don't have to look for it. It's right there. And it's all in favor of Vladimir Putin and his allies in America. So what I'm going to talk about in this Hellscape is the fact that it's Vladimir Putin who's on the ballot, right? It's not even democracy. You don't even have to like democracy. You just have to not want what Vladimir Putin is selling. Now, these 12 motherfuckers are still free, running around, financing, planning, operationalizing, propagandizing fascism. MBS just refused to release oil, as he said he would, in order to hurt Democrats before the midterms. We all know what the rest of these motherfuckers are doing. Running around. Whatever. We can't fix that at this point. We got 4 weeks. So what do we got to do? We have to step up and make sure these fucking midterms reflect the will of the American people and not these guys. Now, what is Vladimir Putin doing right now? He's bombing our friends, the friends of our show, people we've grown to care about. He's bombing them for no reason other than his pursuit of power. That is the definition of fascism. He needs to be taken out, one way or the other. But in the meantime, you've got this fucking traitor and his network of operatives who have been spreading Russian propaganda for years and years, but are now just openly doing it. So recently, Zelensky said something about a preemptive strike of sanctions on Russia to prevent them from launching nuclear war against the rest of the world. Mike Flynn, as all good propagandists do, picked up on that phrase and decided to turn it into a giant Russian psyop. So here it is, condensed to 2 minutes.
I was very pleased yesterday to see that you responded to these escalations in the nuclear war. Part of that, I think, is again, the psyop of keeping people in chaos and fear and all of that. But part of it is very real. And we had yesterday Lindsey Graham, then John Bolton, then Zelensky himself, all within a matter of hours, put out statements or tweets or came out saying that they wanted to do a preemptive strike or a regime change on Russia. And I'm thinking at this point, nobody's talking about peace.
Jumps on that phrase.
Putin, but he sees the New World Order with their eyes on Russia, like Russia is a piece of steak that they're just going to slice up. That the New World Order, and when I say the New World Order, that's the European Union, and then the United States and parts of the West, right, like Canada, and even Australia now and New Zealand. But so this New World Order is made up of that crowd. The World Economic Forum is made up of that crowd and is part of that crowd. Putin sees that group looking at Russia and saying, and he's saying to himself, I'm not going to be a piece of meat that's just going to be sliced apart and destroyed. If I always have had to put my feet into the shoes or the boots of any enemy that I ever was going to face. That was my job. And so when I put my feet into the strategic boots of President Putin, and I look at what he sees through his lens, I see this New World Order takeover and this discussion about a limited, quote unquote, limited nuclear strike. There is nothing limited about nuclear warfare.
And nobody said there was. But this fucking traitor decided that he was going to take the opportunity to run a psyop against Zelensky in a time of war. How does this guy still have 3 stars? Secretary Austin, you need to recall him and take him out. Now, Donald Trump, after 7 years of literally being Vladimir Putin's puppet, he's still out here doing it. Now, you're about to hear from Christina Bobb. Christina Bobb, if you recall, is the lawyer who said there were no more classified documents in Mar-a-Lago. And what's she doing? She's a reporter for the only network that will still cover Trump rallies.
We try to pretend that we take the moral high road, and then you have someone like Vladimir Putin come out and say the West is pushing satanic values with gender dysphoria and all of this confusion, and you go, well, you know.
Yeah. They said Russia, Russia, Russia about me, and they were working with Russia. This could only happen to Trump. And say, First Lady, I want to tell you what they said in the dossier. And that would not work out too well for most of you men in the audience, right? It was Russia, 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 Ukraine, Ukraine, Ukraine. And then it was the Mueller witch hunt where the conclusion was no collusion. Think of that. The conclusion was no collusion. Do you think Biden could say that? I don't think so. Oh, when I felt it in my blood. I just felt it in my bones and blood.
So the rest of this rally was as nuts as you can imagine. But he went on an extended rant about Joe Biden's stutter. And how Joe Biden is not well. Anybody remember in 2016 how Hillary Clinton was real sick and she was falling all over the floor and having kind of seizures? Guess who made that up? Vladimir Putin and Mike Flynn. They ran that in 2016 against Hillary Clinton, among so many other things, including, speaking of Satanism, Pizzagate. We're just running the same fucking play with the same fucking people. So the advantage that we have, despite the fact that the authorities who should be protecting us are not, is that we have seen this before. Do not be fooled by these people. Recognize what's happening here and get out the vote. If we do not keep the Senate, in fact, if we do not get 52 vote in the Senate, and we do not keep the House, I fail to see a scenario in which we escape this. If we can keep our shit together for one more election, we have a shot. But only if we do. So I am imploring you, my friends, get out there, get the goddamn vote out. Get your friends, get your family, put them in cars, put them in boats. I do not give a shit. Get them to the polls. In the meantime, Secretary Austin, Joe Biden, Merrick Garland, it's real clear what's happening here. There's a lot of us getting pissed off that you're not protecting us. So, lots of progress being made. We see you. We see that you're working on it. But you need to understand how serious this is. Time to go. Everybody, let's fucking go. Arrest Mike Flynn.